Last year, June to be exact, I reported on a West Virginia couple that used their adoptive children as slaves. They had, I believe, five children, and they got a call, a welfare check called in on them because a neighbor saw that the husband locked, I believe, one of the children in in the shed in the backyard. And if you don't remember, let's take a look. Did you hear about that West Virginia couple that adopted black kids, used them as slaves, and then forced them to live in a barn? Well, take a good look at Donald Ray Lance and Jeanne K. Whitefeather. Reports say that a wealthy white West Virginia couple have been accused of forcing their adopted black children to work as slaves and live inside of a locked barn. Donald Ray Lance, 63, and Jeanne K. Whitefeather, 62, of Charleston, West Virginia, pled not guilty on Tuesday to multiple new charges after their kids were found locked in a dilapidated shed after allegedly laboring on the surrounding farmland. It says, according to the original arrest report in October, the 16 and 14-year-old children were locked in a squalid 20 by 14 shed with no lights, food, or running water, with a camera planted in the top left corner of the room. The children who smelt of body odor were found wearing dirty clothes with sores on their feet after a wellness check was performed on the outhouse on Cheyenne Lane, which had no way of being opened from the inside. The shed sat on the grounds of the couple's 5-acre, 3-bedroom, $295,000 Simpsonville property. They also owned an 80-acre, $725,000 home in Tonasket, Washington, which they sold after their arrest. Now, this is the shed where the two teenagers were found. Whitefeather stated that the barn where the girl 16 and the boy 14 were found was a teenage clubhouse, and they were not held against their will. The mother told deputies the children, who were all homeschooled, actually liked the shed they were locked in. However, the teenage girl told deputies that they'd been locked in the building for approximately 12 hours and were last given food at 6 a.m. The building only had a small RV porta potty and no running water, according to the images from inside and descriptions from the initial police report. And the children were forced to sleep on the hard concrete floor. Look at this picture, y'all. This is what they had to endure. Now, court documents said neighbors reported that the children were forced into farm labor and were not allowed inside the main house. Filings also stated that the teenage boy found inside the outhouse smelt of body odor and had open sores on his bare feet. 3 hours after finding the older children in the locked shed, deputies found a 9-year-old girl holed up in a loft inside the family's locked main house. Lance came home with the 11-year-old boy, while Whitefeather surrendered the 6-year-old girl to authorities, who has been with friends from the couple's church. It says Child Protective Services were called at the time and took custody of the children. But my question is, why, since the neighbors knew, why were Child Protective Services called then? And if they were called, why wasn't something done sooner? Pretty suspicious. The new charges the couple are facing include human trafficking of a minor child, use of a minor child in forced labor, and child neglect creating substantial risks of serious bodily injury or death. Their bond has now been set to $500,000 each, which totals up to $1 million, which is $300,000 more than their original bonds. Why in the world do they have a bond? The latest indictment outlining the upgraded charges claims that the couple is guilty of human rights violation, alleging that the couple forced their children into hard labor because of their race. Now, this is not to start any racial tension between races, all right? This post is not that. So if I see it, I'm going to delete your comments. But I do have a question. Do you think that opposite races should be able to adopt children? Drop it in the comments. Peace. Now, since that I gave you the full rundown of that story right there in that clip, I'm not going to go over it again, right? But justice has prevailed. And it says that in a news article that a couple sentenced to hundreds of years in prison for forcing adopted black children to work as slaves. And the judge said, "May God have mercy on your souls, because this court will not." Circuit Court Judge Mary Claire Akers said as she sentenced Jeanne K. Whitefeather, 63, to 215 years in prison, and her husband, Donald Lance, 64, to 160 years. So the judge also said, "You brought these kids to West Virginia, a place as I know as almost heaven, and put them in hell." Circuit Court Judge Mary Claire Akers said, according to NBC affiliate of Huntington, West Virginia. The court will now put you in yours. May God have mercy on your souls, because this court will not. Now I'm going to pose that same question once again. Should the opposite race be able to adopt? Do you think that you should adopt within your race? Let me know in the comments. This is not to make a race war, race bait, or anything like that. It's just a general question. I just want to hear what people have to say. Now, I am wondering why they are getting so many years, 215 years and 160 years. You're wasting taxpayers' dollars. I feel like in certain situations, and in this situation, I would say just go ahead and put them to death. Why do we have to? Why do taxpayers have to wait 215 years or 160 years? The amount of pain, torture that they put these children through, I feel like they should just be done with. It's just sickening. But let me know what you think. Drop it in the comments, and we'll holler at y'all later. Peace.